Right, welcome to another investigation into PSYOPs. Now starting with this, compass directions, right? Obviously NE news, right? News. So you got your news, which is to do with this, right? Then you got south, which is obviously pointing downwards. Here also south becomes 180 degrees, right? The rotation says 80, west is 777, right? This is quite important when they're doing these PSYOPs, right? Now as we know, the 6, right, is basically the hex. And we know the significance of that. So the south hand on the compass corresponds to the 6 hand on the clock. So basically, they always had the news on at 6 o'clock. You know, the 6 o'clock news was obviously the most famous type of slot for news, you know, on the TV. Basically, this was the PSYOP time, you know. And the 777 code there. So now we have the next part in this PSYOP continuation, right? Which is called the Southport Killer. Right? Now according to this. This is one like the continues from the first installment, if you like, of the Southport Killer thing, which was that immigrant one, you know, Axel Ruder Barner. Right? Now that one was basically a racial PSYOP, right, where they were dividing the whites against the blacks idea over that one. Right? Now it's basically they've turned it over into a white face. So it's more generalised. So again, like I've said before, when the balance tips in a certain direction, the wish to sort of again, it could be using like a clock scale or a compass scale or something like that. They want to tip the direction, the orientation, right, back in the direction which they want things to go, right? So it's like steering a ship, basically, you know, using the compass, steering a ship, right? And the ship is mental mind, you know, it's the mental mind of the people, right? So this point of going back over to a white face, right? So they've had enough of the racial divisions idea and they're trying to sort of even it out, right? And as you see, 18 again for 666, right? You always see this, right? Salam alaikum. This is what I totally hate about these particular PSYOPs. Every time they bring an Oasis type idea, is it makes you think of the music, right? Which is obviously shit, right? And it basically makes you think of them music tunes, you know. But you sort of they go around in your head for a little bit, you know what I mean? That's what I hate about that. As we know that this Oasis thing was in with Tony Blair, right? Publicly endorsed Tony Blair and the Labour Party, right? And then during that Southport PSYOP that came out, Keir Starmer announced the reforming of Oasis in the House of Commons, right? And something to do with using the "Don't Look Back in Anger" type idea, which was to do with the PSYOP of the Southport Killer, right? Because obviously there's white riots, staged riots, and then they were using this idea of "Don't Look Back in Anger." Right? So basically now you've got this again, not against, it acts as another advert for that crappy sort of pop band. Right? But also they bring back the Oasis idea. Which, as well as that other song, this is the other sort of famous song, or the Wonderwall. Right? Now you're talking about a wonder wall, and you're talking about an invisible wall type of thing. It's like the Wailing Wall in Judaism. An invisible wall, like a divisional type of wall, right? Which obviously they're building that up in the society. And again, I say this is called the Kurtel, right? So you got the type of idea about the immigrants in the hotels, right? It's all to do with this. Pray for its restoration, right? And this basically is why the Masonics, right, are totally fine with the multiculturalism, the immigration, right? Obviously the sort of normal people would think, well, what the hell's going on type of thing, right? But their own Masonics are totally basically fine with this multicultural immigration, because to them, right, they're all one people or something, it's to do with this. They're all as the same peoples or something, right? No matter where they're from, other side the world or whatever. The people who they're sort of blocking out with this invisible wall type of thing, right, is the normal people, the non-Masonics, the non-Jewish people, right? That's who they're blocking out with this wall. It's like an invisible, in-theory wall, what they're building, right? It's all coming together, like within the realms of this wall, keeping out the enemies, which is obviously contrary to the psyop that they're trying to inflict on the profane levels, right? Doing look back in anger. I was there watching the New Lies channel, and he was showing the Bellon. Now this Bellon, as you see, denotes ownership or appropriateness, and belong means to be in the right place or feel obviously part of a group, right? Belong, right? To a group or category. Comfort and membership, right? So you have an idea about ancient Babylon, right? You see the little Euphrates River, EU. Basically you have baby Belon, right? It means belonging to this group or club or ownership, right? Owned by the Jews basically. And of course containing the lion, right? The lion, which is obviously a prevalent symbol, and very much Indian symbol as well, right? And obviously on the England football shirts, famously. You have the baby, right? The baby's in the Belon, right? So the baby's belonging to this group or whatever it is, right? So again, it's like the program, it's like their program, their science program, right? Of their own peoples. This Babylon type idea, right? We're being ancient. It's basically the future, like it's the code what they use about the supposed past becomes the future, right? And if you remember the Babylon must fall, what they used to see on the reggae music, Babylon must fall. Well, that's what they're building it, they're building this Babylon idea, just like they're building the wall, the Wailing Wall, like they're building this divisional idea, right? For obviously their own people and the other type of peoples that wish to be wiped away, a type idea, right? Extinction. So all occurred in this type of Babylon and Babylonia type of thing. You got the Mesopotamia, the teapot, right? Mesua is basically like, the Japanese soup, Mesua. You got the teapot, right? You got the Amorites, which is basically Amor is love, right? And like Roma, right? So obviously all the stuff is code for that, again, for that sort of program, you know, what they've got in place. Again, you get like plenty of ideas about Syria, and with the migrant idea, you know, you get the Syrian migrants. Characterized by use of a sexagesimal-based 60 numeral system, which, you know, it all makes sense, you know, in a way, right? Trying to form a new, you know, new society with new legal systems and everything, you know, building Babylon, right? Of this, it's the famous painting that's used by the EU. Bruegger's, again, means anger, right? They're building a Tower of Babel by anger. It's basically the same thing as the Babylon, right? They're building the Babylon, rebuilding Babylon or something within Europe, within the Western places. That's it's what they do. So the painting is this, which is obviously used as the symbol for the European Union. That's the, you know, this is the ideas of like the Wonder War and the Babylon and all that, right? So they're building this within Europe, right? And all the confused people on the outside don't know what's going on, but within the walls is their community, you know, their community as you call it. You know, obviously they're Masonic, Jewish peoples within that, and also Muslim. So, you know, like it's that's what our thing's all about, right? So this is basically why their own peoples are basically fine with what they're doing, whereas you know, your normal peoples are gonna think, what the hell are playing at, you know? And as you say, God punishes builders for confusing speech. So you have all different languages, you know, people can't understand, you know. People can't understand each other and all that. Adds to the confusion. Of course, the diverse nations, which is obviously every sentence these politicians go on about is about the diversity and buzzing vibrancy and all that stuff. Of course, you know, trying to shape European identity. And the basically pentagrams are pointing down. Again, there's your direction type of thing. And your 7 type of thing there, or your big T. Your T for trans.